guys, I'm very excited for today's video because we are going to be talking about all of my fall favorites from 2021. I have so many things to share with you. I'm not going to go too in depth because I have reviewed everything in my monthly makeup ranking videos. I will have that playlist linked. I will have all the items listed down below. And without further ado, let's just get started with a couple base products. And both of these things blew me away with how much I enjoyed them because they're the opposite of what I typically like because of my skin type. And I am an oily skin person and I love full coverage makeup. But these two favorites would be the Vesca Glowy Primer and the Kosas Powder, which most people with dry skin love this. And there were a couple days I went into the office and I did not wear any foundation or concealer, just these two products as my base. And I loved it. Of course, I did like blush, bronzer, highlighter, which helped as well. And I was wearing a mask, but like, just looking at my skin, I got so many compliments that day as well when I posted a picture on Instagram. And let me tell you about the product. So from Vesca, which I did do a whole try on of all of the products that I have from them. I have one color in each of their products. I'll have that link for you guys as well. This is the Soft Sun Radiant Skin Primer and Luminizer in the shade Sunrise. They have three colors. This is the more golden tone. And this is a very nice glowy primer. It does not look like a liquid highlight. It's not metallic or anything, but this just has a nice consistency to it that feels very smooth on the skin. It is not sticky, it is not greasy. I really like the way it looks. And then like the main star here is this Kosas powder. I just got a little mini from Sephora and I thought I was going to hate this, but I was like, oh, let me try it anyway. This is the Kosas Cloud Set Powder in the shade Breezy. I don't think that this is the perfect color for me. I need something a little bit lighter. And you can tell I've already used it a ton. I've really worn down the dome. I think I'm gonna actually pan this in my winter project pan. I love this. This gives some good coverage. It makes the skin look very smooth, but not too matte. I am wearing this today, but I put my makeup on several hours ago and I just touched up with a little bit of matte powder because on camera with the lights, it like really, your oils look very reflective. So I did touch it up there, but I used like a dense powder brush to pack this on my skin because I hate when my face is tacky, and it wasn't completely set. There were a couple of areas where, you know, I could feel the tack a little bit, but not bad at all. And it was so good. I know a lot of people get hard pan with this. I haven't had any at all. And I don't think the formula of the mini is different than the full size. I think it's probably just because maybe of the brush I'm using, the amount of product that I'm using, and the fact that the foundations that I use, because I did wear this over foundation today. The foundations that I use are not super wet, are not super dewy. And I think those are some things that have led to hard pan. I could be wrong, but I am definitely tempted to buy this powder at the next Sephora sale, which is so crazy because I am not a pressed powder person anymore. But recently I also went back and tried the L'Oreal Infallible powder foundation. I like this better. I think it just looks nicer on the skin, which is insane. So really like this. You know, it's something that I would not wear in the summer because I will be too oily for it, but I'm really loving this. I think this is such a nice combo and I'm really just blown away by how much I like these things. Next, we have a lot of cheek products, but I wanted to talk about some other things that were surprise favorites of mine, and these are the Nabla Skin Bronzing in Ambra and Skin Glazing in Ozone. So I actually had this highlight for a while. I got it last year or the year before at also 21 Days of Beauty, and I have the shade Ozone. It's the lightest color. I was not that impressed. I felt like it wasn't really like showing up very well on my skin. And I don't know what my deal was. I don't know if it was the brush. I don't know if it was because it was so new and now I've, you know, worked into it. But I apply it with the AOA Studio F19 highlighter brush from Shop Miss A, which is a dupe for the Anastasia highlight brush. It applies it perfectly. I'm wearing it today. Again, I applied my makeup several hours ago and I have touched up with powder, but I think it's a beautiful glow to the skin and it kind of melts in. I don't feel like it's sitting on top. I don't think it's emphasizing too much texture. For me, any highlighter is going to emphasize texture. This gives such a nice glow. I'm very impressed with the formula of this, and the shade is very pretty. So I'm so happy that I tried it again, that I came around to it. And then I did not like this at first, but the more that I use it, the more I liked it. So again, I don't know if it's just like working into the product, because you can tell I've really worn off the pattern. This is the Skin Bronzing in Ambra, which is the lightest shade. And I really think a big reason I love this is because of the brush I was using with it, which is new to me as well. So this is also a favorite. This is the EcoTools bronze brush. And I bought this because the Sigma Duo Fiber brush and the e.l.f. Duo Fiber brush, not the small stipple, but the regular stipple, are no longer available. And I love those type of brushes for bronzers. So I bought this one first, and then I actually did end up finding the Sigma on Mercari, but they're totally different. This one is way more dense than the Sigma is, and I feel like I really need to work my brush in here. And at first when I was just using my regular stippling brush, I didn't feel like I was getting enough product on my brush, but this has a great amount of density. I really like this shape, and I just like swirl it around like this and then tap it on my skin. It looks so nice, and this is a very good light color for me. I used a little bit of this today over top of a cream bronzer, and usually I cannot do both and it looks too intense, but it doesn't now. Of course, I did set the cream bronzer with my powder and then went on with a little bit of this, but still usually that looks crazy on me. So I am very, very impressed with this. I'm so happy, and I really think if you've tried this and you don't like the pigmentation, this brush is so good. It's EcoTools, it's very inexpensive. Also my first time trying EcoTools brushes, and I got it on sale too. But this is really, really good. Definitely recommend that as well, especially like with this formula. And again, that Shop Miss A highlighter brush works so well with this. I feel like I should have got some during Black Friday. I want to buy some and just give them to people as gifts because it's so good. I've raved about that before. Then I've got another bronzer highlight. This is another product from Vesca. This is their soft matte bronzer. I have the second lightest shade, which is Kissed by Santorini. I really like this. This is not super intense, so it is buildable, blendable, which I need as someone that is fair skinned. This has a warm undertone. It's not too orange. I really love the way that this looks on the skin. It applies and blends really, really nicely. So super happy to have this bronzer. And then this highlight, so good. So this is something that I got from Look Fantastic. You can use my code 22Heather for 22% off most of the products on their site, but it definitely works on Illamasqua. This is the Beyond Powder Highlight in OMG. This is a baked product, and normally I don't like baked products. I think they look super dry on the skin. Not this. And this is not heavy. It's not dry. I love the glow this gives, and it's so lightweight. This is such a pretty highlight. The only thing I don't like is how big the packaging is and the shape of it, but I realize that this is like their thing, is this shape. So lots of product in here, but it does not fit perfectly in my organizers, which of course drives me bonkers. Then I have this cheek duo that I've been loving. This is from Sigma's holiday collection from last year, and it comes with the Corday Rosa blush, which I sell individually, also in the Corday Rosa blush palette, which I love. That's going to be a yearly favorite of mine. And then you also have this highlighter Gilded, which is not in the Glow Kissed highlighter palette. And of course, I bought this duo before that blush palette was ever released. So good. Sigma's blush quality, very pigmented, blends really nicely. This highlight is very pigmented, but looks smooth. It does not emphasize texture too much. And I know a lot of people are into subtle highlights. Not me. I still like a blinding highlight, and again, because I'm so fair, I have a hard time finding subtle highlights that even work on me, but this looks good on my skin. I absolutely loved this duo. And then we've got some blushes. This first one I am so glad I love because I bought the other two shades during Black Friday, even though I hadn't tried this one at the time. And this is the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow in Faded Clementine. I was so worried that this was gonna be dusty and sheer, and it is not. This shows up very nicely on my skin. It definitely looks darker than it is here, so I do think if you have a medium complexion, you could wear this. If you're deep, I don't think that it would work as a blush on its own, but on me this works very nicely. It's a nice baked formula, has a really beautiful shine to it, but it's not too glittery, it's not metallic. It just looks very, very pretty on the cheeks. Very happy with this like natural looking blush, which is great for a more intense eye look. The packaging is huge. I wish that the lid was a little bit shorter. I get that it's a domed product, so it needs to be a little big, but I really like this. And of course I bought it before they changed the packaging to match the shade, so I kind of wish I had that because the other shades I have match the actual blush, but that's okay. And then Persona is a brand that I've just really been loving. I have a few more things to test out, and then at the beginning of 2022, I want to do a one brand review. I haven't tried everything, but a lot of the products. So this is the Super Blush in Terracotta. I love this one. This is very rich, so I did have to be careful when I was applying it, but I used the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe JH04, my everything brush. That is so good to use if you have a really pigmented blush. But I love this color. It is so pretty. I love how sleek and simple the packaging is. I really love that about Persona. So that was definitely a favorite. And then I'm so happy I love this, and I'm not surprised. This is a MAC blush. I am like over MAC for the most part, but their blushes I still think are so incredible. And this is the shade Gingerly. It's a really beautiful matte finish, and this just gave a great amount of color to my cheeks, blended nicely. Here's a comparison to Faded Clementine, so you can tell this one is matte and it is deeper. Really beautiful, absolutely love that. So happy to have it. And for some reason, I feel like MAC blushes and eyeshadows in the pan are just softer to the touch than the ones in the pots. I feel like those just have like a layer that's a little bit harder, but this is just like super smooth. So really loved that. Then we have some eyeshadow palettes. First is the Natasha Denona Mini Star. I really love the look that I created with this shade on the lid, but this shade specifically, I loved that look so much. And I normally don't go very dark on the lid, but I think it worked perfectly. And I really like that her minis for the most part come with 3 shimmers and 2 mattes. I think that is just perfect. I think this color is a little dark for my preference, but I do think it makes it more versatile for more skin tones because you can mix the shades together. And I really, really like this. The shimmers and the mattes perform super well. Then we've got some ColourPop palettes. So this first one is the RawBeautyKristi at Foresight palette. So you have 2 shimmers, the rest are mattes. I created, or I should say I recreated, 2 looks that Kristi had done, one with each of the shimmers. The olive green look, obsessed. So many of you guys told me you liked it, which I really, really appreciated. And for my makeup of the days that I post on Instagram with these, I will have them down below. Definitely make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. Every time I put makeup on to film a video over the past couple of months, I've been doing makeup of the days on Instagram just to show you my makeup a little bit better, and I've been having fun doing that. So I also did an all matte look that I really liked. This shade Old Growth is such a nice color. The only thing I don't like here is this really dark color because it has shimmer in it, which is so annoying because I'm like, influencers should know we don't like that. Like, this is shimmer, it's not quite glitter, but it seems definitely unnecessary. So I wish we could replace that and have like one more shimmer in this palette, but it's super good. I really like it. And the mattes blended out really, really well. I did have a little trouble with these darker colors here, but it's just because of my skill level. But applying them a little bit differently worked out. Then I also loved the Gather Round Sisters Hocus Pocus 1 palette. So glad that they re-released it this year. I bought mine like full price last year, and I love the design here of the Sanderson sisters. I think it's so cute. So this is a 15 pan palette, and it was a collaboration, so it's a little bit more expensive. So I hate these 2 rows on the end because out of the 6 shades, we have 1 matte, 1 shimmer, and then 4 mattes with glitter, which is so stupid, and they're so ugly, especially like this color and this color. It's like silver glitter in there, hideous. So I actually wish that this was just a 9 pan with these 3 rows. The pressed glitter in here actually is very good. I think ColourPop has come a long way since the pressed glitters in the Sweet Talk palette, which I think were the first time they introduced pressed glitters into a palette. But the rest of the shades in here I think perform really well and are so beautiful. I really enjoyed the looks that I created with this palette, and I'm very happy that I did end up picking it up. Then we have one of the palettes that I'm wearing today. This is the Sydney Grace Temptalia On the Horizon Light palette. For each of her 3 palettes, she made a light and a deep version where I think all the shimmers are the same. It's just a couple of the mattes are darker. And I love that she was being inclusive and thinking about more skin tones. And I know Sydney Grace has done that as well. I think their Enduring Love palette has a light and a deep version where they change up the mattes, which I think is so good. So I really like this palette. So I did have a little bit of issue with the dark purple and the green matte, but again, that is just my skill level. So I ended up mostly using those just to like define my lower lash line, which worked perfectly. I was like not trying to work on blending them in the crease, but these shades are so incredible. I specifically love a cool tone look that I did with Lunar Illumination on the first 2/3 of my lid. The outer third, I had this shade Sakura Glow. And for my crease color, I did October Odyssey. Then my transition shade was a color from the Sigma Warm Neutrals palette, but I love that look so much. These shimmers are so reflective on the lid. They're so metallic, which I love. I'm tempted to get the other palettes from her, but honestly, they're very, very similar. I think it would be nice to get because I believe Alex from One Beauty Addict or Alessandra Lisette, I think she said that she like moved all of her shades around and they look so pretty like that. I just can't do that. I know Lauren, my beauty, does that. My friend Jean loves that. Natasha Denona palettes are magnetic and can be switched up. I can't. I have to leave things in their original packaging. But regardless of that, blended very nicely, so pigmented. I'm so impressed with this palette. And if I can only have one, I am very glad it is this one. And then we have something that I got last year and didn't give too much love to. This is the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. And initially I had put this with my winter palettes, but there's really just as many like browns in here as there are pinks and burgundies. So I think I like this better in the fall. And I remember last year I used this marbled shadow and I thought it looked terrible. But this year I used this marbled shadow on my lid. It was incredible. You could really see that blue to purple shift. I will have that makeup of the day linked for you guys so you can see it. I really like Huda's formula. And these palettes are very expensive. I think this was $67. Natasha Denona Midi palettes are $65. So that really is one of the reasons I got so many Natasha Denona palettes this year, is because I was like, oh, she's really not that expensive, that size, compared to Huda, which like we have no problem buying once a year. But I really, really like this. I think Huda has a nice formula in the large palettes. In the Obsessions, I've tried several of them. The only ones that I think are actually good are the nude. I have the light, medium, and rich nude Obsessions. Those are very good. The rest of hers are like too much of a gamble for me, but the full-size palettes work so well. I hate this slippery shade, of course, like we all do, but the rest of them work very, very well. So I was very impressed with this palette, happy with the looks I created. Then we have a lot of lip products, which is definitely different for me. So the first thing, you guys are not gonna be surprised, this is my Persona lip liner in the shade Almond. I wore this so much. It is so smooth. It does remind me of ColourPop. And this is just a perfect peachy nude for me. Very smooth formula. Then another lip liner I loved is a limited edition shade. I don't remember what collection this was part of, but this is in the shade Good and Plenty, which is deeper and rosier. Here's what that one looks like. Absolutely love this color. ColourPop formula is my absolute favorite. Very, very creamy. Then I may have found my favorite bullet lipstick formula, and I wish they had more shades, but that would be the Buxom Full Force lipstick. So I know they have an original line, and I don't like any of those colors, to be honest, but these are the 90s Nude Collection, and I got one shade from Ulta when it was part of the 21 Days of Beauty, but at the same time, these are popping up at TJ Maxx for like $7, which is phenomenal. So I'm gonna swatch the three that I have. This is one I got from Ulta. This is Heartthrob, which is the most pink of these three and of the whole collection. So there's Heartthrob. Then I was really scared of this shade Fly Girl because it is pretty warm. Not quite mustard, but very warm, but it worked out really well with the eye look I created that day. There's Fly Girl. And then the last color is the one I wanted the most. This is Supermodel, which is like a rose with like a tinge of terracotta in there. And there it is, so pretty. I really, really like these. And these are a cream lipstick. They are full coverage. They do have a nice glossy shine to them. They don't leave that white ring on my lips. They're very comfortable. They do have a cooling sensation, which I love. A little bit of a minty vanilla scent, which I also love. Yeah, so good. These just looked so nice on the lips. They're not the most long wearing, but they don't disappear in a couple of seconds. So impressed with this formula. I would love, love, love for them to release more shades. I have never found a bullet lipstick line where I was like, yes, this is it. And honestly, I feel like this is my favorite one because I like matte lipsticks, but sometimes they just emphasize like any scabby bits on my lips, or like they look weird on the inner part of my lips, but these just look so nice. So then I've got some glosses, of course. This is another Vesca product. It is their Lush Glow Creamy Lip Oil. I think there's like 6 shades. I got the lightest one, Ginger Lily, which is a nude as well. This is a very comfortable formula. It's very smooth, but it's a little thick where it just feels very cushy, but not sticky. It doesn't feel waxy like the Rare Beauty liquid lip balms. I did not like those because they were waxy to me, but this is very good. Just like the perfect amount of thickness for someone that's as picky as I am. And then I got a Tower 28 Shine On Milky Lip Jelly in the shade Cashew. And oh my gosh, this formula is so good. I want them to come out with more shades as well. So smooth, gives like a light medium opacity to the lips. Great with a lip liner, great on its own. I don't mind how quickly it wears away because it's so comfortable and not sticky. And then unfortunately this was limited edition. I wore this when I used this color from the Mini Star palette and loved it. This is one of the Buxom Full Lip Creams, which is my favorite gloss formula even though it's sticky. And this is in the shade Sugar Drop, which is a little cooler tone of a nude, as you can definitely tell compared to Cashew. There's a little more pink in there. Again, all of these glosses have the same like light, medium opacity, which I love. I don't really like full coverage glosses. I feel like they make too much of a mess. So lots of nudes here, but really happy to find some lip favorites. I don't feel like that happens too often for me. And those are all of my beauty favorites, but I did have 2 random favorites. The first would be Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip on Peacock, and I already have a Peacock account and I think it's free. So very, very good. It had a couple girls from several different franchises of the Real Housewives, a lot of drama. I wish there were more episodes, but they did a good job getting a lot of content from just a week-long vacation. And then the other thing would be, of course, my girl Avril Lavigne is back making new music with Travis Barker's music label, and her song Bite Me is so good. It is so classic Avril. She does also have another song that's a little bit slower called Bright. I love that one as well. I will have the videos down below. So good. I've been blasting that music all over the place, which I've been listening to the same music since before the pandemic because I don't listen to music too often anymore, and it's nice to add a couple more songs to my go-to playlist. So I would love to know what music you guys have been loving recently. It's like whenever I get in the car, it's just like TikTok music. So I would love to hear some of your favorites. Please let me know what beauty products you have loved this fall. I would love to hear your thoughts on the things that I mentioned here today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.